We had a memorial for Boo and Merlin way after they passed, actually, because of COVID, and we were not able to get everybody together, so we waited. And as the volunteers started to come back, and they weren't greeted at the door by Boo, they didn't get to see Merlin in his enclosure. They passed away while everyone was gone, so it was very difficult for them. It was very difficult for us, of course, but we needed closure. We needed to honor her. Merlin was an old boy. He was 15. He lived a good long life for a wolf dog. Taboo was only 11. She was taken too soon by a horrible cancer that just shocked us.
She was the source of apex of the healing of all of the animals and people. I've done a tremendous amount of work with veterans and post-traumatic stress and leadership work. Taboo's lessons run through all of that. They include compassionate and benevolent leadership, leading from the back, a strong but incredibly compassionate way of creating a container or a culture or a tribe. And there's a tremendous amount of things that I have incorporated and embodied from Taboo, and it's being pushed out into the world.
And she just was very motherly and very regal at the same time. And it was just wonderful to watch her raise the pack, basically, you know, and obviously she was the reason that they started Apex. You know, they learned everything from her. So she just was a regal, wonderful being, and I miss her.
Taboo is the reason that we're all here together. You guys are our best friends, and we wouldn't have you if it weren't for Boo. And not only are you our best friends, but you all have become each other's best friends. And it's been the most beautiful thing to watch. I love how we all love each other so much. And we're all so different, but we all love each other and respect each other so much, and we're all working so hard together for a common goal. And it's all because of Boo.
Taboo was our very first rescue. She was just a yearling. And when we got her back to the sanctuary, we realized how loving she was for humans and a bit shy, but she was very aggressive towards dogs. And mainly that was because she didn't have a lot of exposure to them. Well, in rescuing her, we loved her immediately and felt responsible for her well-being. And so we set out on this journey to learn as much as we could to find out how can we possibly help this girl find some balance. And so we brought her home. We used every opportunity we could, even getting her spayed. We offered to have her stay with us so that we could keep an eye on her. And she settled right in. So it wasn't long after we adopted her full time. And the whole reason that we've dedicated our lives to this mission, that Apex exists, that we live out in the middle of nowhere with a pack of wolves and wolf dogs, the whole reason that we love this species so much and want to protect them is because we wanted to find Taboo a friend.
Her best friend was the one that really turned her around, Eddie. Our best friends, Vernon and Grace, have a dog. He was a puppy then, he was young, tiny little terrier. And we took her over to their house several times, and she started to learn to play with him. And Paula would sit there with Eddie, like hoping that Taboo wasn't gonna bite his head off. But she started chasing him, and then he started chasing her, and then she would roll around, and she was so gentle with him.
But, you know, she would be so gentle, And it was always such an amazing thing for whoever was with us to see, because it just really opened their eyes to who these creatures really are, which is they're loving and they're smart.
Went to Big Bear with them, and it was her first time off leash playing in the snow. And her face, she just became this happy wolf. I mean, she just looked like a wolf. She was in her element. And then we started taking her to the beach. And I remember one time, we had her on a 30-foot leash at this point. We couldn't let her off leash yet, but we had her on a 30-foot. And one day, she started playing with the kids. She wouldn't let anybody touch her. Back then, even now, I mean, even before she passed away, she wouldn't let a lot of people touch her if she didn't know her. But she literally, on the end of a 30-foot leash, the kids were in the water, and they would run in, and the waves would come, and they would all run out. And Taboo saw them playing, and she ran in and stood between them. And then all of a sudden, when the kids ran, she turned around and ran. She was playing with them just as if she was another kid in the water. I remember being so proud of her. I remember looking at her like she was my child playing with the other kids. And she was starting to make friends, and she was starting to come out of this fear that she was in.
I remember when she was playing with you for the first time. You guys were in the ocean, and she just started jumping in the waves and jumping on you and dancing around, and you were jumping around and getting her excited. It was amazing.
She was just head over heels for Merlin, and he became her true love. And Kona came along, and they were best friends. He was her beta. They had so much fun together.
And then we rescued the puppies, Loki and Thor, and Taboo immediately took them under her wing, raising them as her own. And that's when we saw her blossom into the incredible leader that she became.
She was tolerant but firm. And she went everywhere with us. Even to wine country. They loved her up there.
One day we took Taboo to Big Heart Ranch in Malibu, founded by one of our board members. She met her first farm animals that day, including Daisy the deer. Some people believe that wolves are vicious killers and kill for no reason. But that day, it proved otherwise.
And the kids. She loved kids. She loved babies. She was just so gentle.
And if you've ever come for a hike at Apex, you know that Taboo would make you part of her pack, and she would lead from the back like a good mother would.
You know, people who visited us and been like, yep, I've been nudged up the butt by Taboo, because if they weren't moving fast enough, she'd literally nudge them, like, get going, which would crack us up. And she was just so magical, so magnificent, and such a lady. You know, she was just very elegant but strong. She just had the most beautiful qualities of any being I've ever met. She was my baby girl.
You one of her pack. And if you stopped, she would wait. And if you were too slow, she would nudge you in the butt. And I can't tell you how many people have been affected by that. How many people were so blown away to know that a true leader leads from the back, but keeps an eye on their pack, and leads through love? Yeah, it's changed a lot of lives, especially ours.